A year later, APD has released video of a deadly police shooting. Now, the attorney for the victim's family wants to know why it took so long. A warning, the video you're about to see could be graphic. Albuquerque police got to 50-year-old Armand Martin's Ventana Ranch home in May of last year after his wife called saying he pulled a gun on her and the kids, threatening them. During a 6-hour standoff, bullets started flying out of the second-story windows of the home. Lapel video does not show the shooting, but a neighbor's cell phone video shows Martin as he walks out. Then you hear 2 quick shots that police say came from Martin, followed by 1 fatal shot fired by APD. The attorney for Martin's family wants to know why police took so long to release the video.
The city really should be in the business of providing information as much as possible, and they just failed. They dropped the ball on this one.
APD says it just reached a point in the investigation that allowed the video's release. As for why no officers had video of the shooting, the deputy chief told us the helmet cameras only have a 2-hour battery life, so officers were turning them on and off throughout the 6-hour standoff. A one-time presidential candidate who's now in the medical marijuana business says getting pot legalized in New Mexico won't happen anytime soon. Former Governor Gary Johnson told the San Francisco Chronicle that New Mexico is, quote, as horrible as it can get, and that Susana Martinez is to blame. That's because she's against legalizing pot. Johnson is the CEO of Cannabis Sativa, which makes products using cannabis oil. It released its first product, a hemp supplement, this spring. We reached out to the governor's office for reaction to Johnson's comments. We haven't heard back. Well, a bill to keep New Mexico on daylight savings time year-round is headed to the Senate. It passed the Senate Judiciary Committee last night with a 4-2 vote. Roswell Republican Cliff Pirtle introduced the bill 2 years ago. It did not make it out of the committee that time. Well, fireworks at the Roundhouse yesterday. The Senate tossed out Matt Chandler from the UNM Board of Regents. The governor had appointed the former prosecutor to the spot. The Senate Rules Committee voted along party lines not to confirm the former prosecutor. That sparked another Martinez appointee and longtime regent Jamie Cook to resign. The full Senate later also rejected Chandler's appointment, and he was removed from the position. The Senate passed a bill that demands more transparency when it comes to how your tax dollars are being spent. It would require state contracts, any amendments, and expenses to be posted online as part of the Sunshine Portal. Right now, state law only requires some of those contracts and expenses to be posted. The bill now goes to the House. APS has a plan to try and keep more kids from dropping out of school by letting them learn from home. Albuquerque Public Schools is now offering a full-time virtual education for students in grades 6 through 12. It's a new option that allows APS students to stay home and take all their classes online.
It provides an opportunity for students who need a break from that traditional setting for various reasons. It is a rigorous curriculum that would be led by highly qualified teachers. It does follow all state and national standards.
There would be in-person tutoring and teacher office hours available. APS students that want to participate can pre-enroll in the coming months. The online program will be in full swing this fall. It looks like campers at yet another tent city in Albuquerque have cleared out this morning. Yesterday was eviction day for the campers at I-25 near Lomas. Earlier this week, Department of Transportation crews and state police posted eviction notices. The homeless were supposed to clear out by 1:30 yesterday afternoon. We checked overnight and did not see any tents. If campers do return, it'll be up to a district court judge to enforce the eviction, which likely won't happen until early next week. The city of Albuquerque is offering an incentive to help ensure equal pay for women. In 2013, the city adopted some gender equity reforms to make sure women were getting paid the same as men for doing the same job. A task force has now suggested an incentive for private businesses to do the same, a 5% preference for businesses seeking a city contract. Officials say the move will hopefully help businesses notice if there's a difference between how they pay men versus women.
Not only make them more aware of it, but help to incentivize them to achieve more pay equity.
In order to qualify, companies must narrow the gap between gender salaries to at least 10%. The measure will be introduced at Monday's City Council meeting. A treasure trove of art is back with its owner after an alert APD officer found the art inside a drug house last month. These are works of art by Albuquerque, a famous Native American artist who died in 1981. The officer who found the art took it to the Albuquerque Museum, and yesterday it was returned to Mamade's grandma.
It's remarkable that it was found, and it's a miracle that it was returned to us. You know, I think that we were blessed that it came back to us, that it was found and it was all intact and in perfect condition the way I remember seeing it.
I noticed this portfolio laying on the ground. I opened it up and seen the artwork, and I knew the people that were there had no lawful reason to have this type of artwork.
Police believe the art was stolen from the Mamade estate in Santa Fe and somehow ended up at the drug house in Albuquerque. Mamade was born in Oklahoma but taught school and lived on the Jemez Pueblo with his wife. The family says he would have been disheartened by the theft but relieved at the return of the art. The universally dreaded experience of going to the DMV may soon be a little less painful. 2 states in the U.S. want to be the first to offer digital driver's licenses. But before the technology can roll out anywhere, the company behind it has to make sure it's completely secure. Sume Das reports.
We may soon have one less reason to open our wallets. MorphoTrust, a biometric company, has developed digital driver's licenses, or DDLs. Drivers who want a DDL would download a smartphone app.
You could verify yourself one of several ways, either using a PIN or possibly using a selfie.
DDLs will have a slew of security features. One seems to come straight from a book about a certain boy wizard.
The Harry Potter feature is just the individual's head rotates back and forth. It indicates, first of all, that it's got a live connection, okay, and that it's a valid DDL.
Delaware and Iowa are among the states interested in adopting DDLs. Iowa will begin a pilot test this summer.
They want to make sure that they can push updates or changes out to that driver's license in real time.
That could mean fewer trips to the DMV. In Sacramento, I'm Sumi Das, CNET.com for CBS News.
Iowa goes well, digital driver's licenses could roll out in that state sometime next year. Took a jury less than 2 hours to find a man guilty in the murder of a 10-year-old boy back in 2005. Noah Torres and 4 other men shot into the window of this Clovis apartment, killing 10-year-old Carlos Perez. They were going after Perez's older brother, but killed the little boy instead. Torres was on the run for years. He taunted police, claiming he would turn himself in. He even sent a letter to Governor Susana Martinez, who turned it over to Mexican authorities. They finally arrested him in 2012. Torres faces life in prison. We're learning new details about a SWAT situation we told you about yesterday morning near 2nd and Rio Bravo. The man who broke into a South Valley home, then barricaded himself in the next door neighbor's house, is now in custody. Homeowner Ronald Marshall tells us he helped 23-year-old Lee Gonzalez over the years by letting him stay in the house. But Marshall says Gonzalez snuck in this week while he was sleeping, startling him.
He had gotten into the house, into the garage, and then climbed up into the attic. And then just before he had done that, he had obtained a knife.
Marshall says when he confronted Gonzalez, he grabbed a knife from the kitchen and fled to a house next door. Gonzalez barricaded himself inside, refusing to come out. Bernalillo County SWAT broke through the front window and Gonzalez surrendered. He's charged with aggravated burglary. Well, police arrested a man for a double murder in Alamogordo. It happened around 10 Thursday night. Police say they found 33-year-old Philip Banca and 30-year-old Jessica Tompkins dead with gunshot wounds. 4 kids were also found alive in the home. Police say Jessica Tompkins' husband, 33-year-old Tarek Tompkins, shot the two. He was later arrested and charged with 2 counts of murder and child abuse. Court records show that the couple were in the midst of an ongoing divorce. A deputy with the Colfax County Sheriff's Office has been arrested on federal drug charges. 45-year-old Vidal Sandoval was taken into custody by the FBI and state police yesterday. According to the criminal complaint, Sandoval was trying to sell more than a pound of cocaine. Sandoval ran for Colfax County Sheriff last year, but lost. One of the Marines who died in Tuesday's Black Hawk crash in Florida has ties to New Mexico. The Albuquerque Journal reports Staff Sergeant Andrew Seif attended Queen of Heaven Catholic School in Albuquerque. His father and stepmother live in Rio Rancho. Just last Friday, Seif received a Silver Star for risking his life to save a wounded Marine in Afghanistan. He was also named Marine of the Year in 2013. Seif and his wife were based in North Carolina. A total of 7 Marines and 4 National Guardsmen died Tuesday during the training exercise. Well, police in the St. Louis area are combing through leads, trying to find the person or people responsible for shooting 2 police officers in front of the station early Thursday. Steve Harrigan has the latest in Ferguson.
While an investigation is underway to find out who's responsible for the shooting of 2 police officers early Thursday morning, St. Louis County Police Chief John Belmar is speaking out about his #1 priority.
To make sure that we continue a tempo of service and protection and relationships in the Ferguson area to make sure that we don't have a regression.
The shooting happening just hours after Ferguson's police chief resigned, and many officials expressing anger at what they're calling an ambush.
The police, more than anybody else, have protected the rights of peaceful protesters, at the same time having lots of other responsibilities to protect property, to protect other lives.
Protesters gathered in the streets of Ferguson in the wake of the shooting. Some are calling the attack senseless.
If it was going to be any type of actions taken in reference to being harmful to the police officers, why would you wait now when we're getting results? You know, we're getting results. Things are happening in a positive way. Why would you go to a negative?
Meanwhile, concrete barricades are up at the police department's main driveway entrance as investigators go through scores of potential leads.
The detectives are looking at this investigation around the clock. They will not rest until we get to the point of where we have a conclusion regarding this investigation.
The police chief says the 2 wounded officers have been released from the hospital and are now home with their families, expected to make full recoveries. In Ferguson, Missouri, Steve Harrigan, Fox News.
The chief says a reward of $10,000 is being offered for information leading to the arrest of the police shooter, and he says that number could go up as donations are continuing to pour in. Well, 3 people have died after eating Bluebell ice cream that was contaminated with listeria. The Centers for Disease Control says the bacteria was found in single-serve samples in a variety of flavors. The ice cream was served at a Kansas hospital, killing 3 people and making 2 others sick. Bluebell is now issuing a recall. For a list of the affected products, go to KRQE.com. Albuquerque police are looking into leads into the recent rash of dog thefts in the city. The city announced a $5,000 reward to catch the people who they believe are stealing dogs from people's yards. Within the last couple of months, about a dozen dogs have been taken. Deputies believe the animals are being used for dog fighting. Well, we now know where this Georgia O'Keeffe painting, Jimson Weed, that sold for more than $44 million in a New York auction in October, will now be displayed. The buyer was kept secret, but News 13 has learned it was sold to the Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art in Bentonville, Arkansas. That museum was started by Alice Walton, daughter of Walmart founder Sam Walton. The painting will go on display there later this month.